Academy Award winner Guillermo del Toro's next feature is his adaptation of Mary Shelley's iconic Frankenstein. However, unlike the horror director's other works, such as Crimson Peak, Nightmare Alley, or Pan's Labyrinth, his adaptation of the classic monster is an emotionally charged story. It is an emotional story for me. It's as personal as anything. I'm asking a question about being a father, being a son. I'm not doing a horror movie, ever, Del Toro says in an interview. Del Toro is well known for his poetic sympathy towards so-called monsters in his films Pan's Labyrinth and the Oscar-winning The Shape of Water. So it's no surprise that he is bringing a sympathetic look at one of movies and pop culture's most iconic monsters. In this version, Del Toro's script tells a story about relationships, particularly those between fathers and sons, and the way misunderstood individuals are treated by society. Even the musical score by Alexander Desplat has a more emotional and lyrical approach rather than a horror sound, which most viewers would think is most appropriate. Desplat, an Oscar winner, says that Guillermo's cinema is very lyrical, and my music is rather lyrical too. I'm not trying to write horrific music. As a child, Del Toro was deeply impacted by the original 1931 film, particularly by the portrayal of the creature as a figure of innocence. Boris Karloff's performance of Frankenstein conveyed a quiet, almost sacred purity in the character, capturing something deeply human and profoundly moving. There was a serene grace in his depiction that felt both transcendent and holy. Later, upon reading the original novel, Del Toro came to realize that the full depth of the book had yet to be truly captured on screen. To this day, nobody has made the book, but the book became my Bible, because what Mary Shelley wrote was the quintessential sense of isolation you have as a kid, says Del Toro. When Del Toro first went into pre-production, Oscar-nominated actor Andrew Garfield was originally cast to play Frankenstein. Garfield was attached to the project for around 9 months. Del Toro and his frequent makeup artist, Mike Hill, who previously worked on The Shape of Water and Nightmare Alley, spent all 9 months designing and refining Garfield's look as Frankenstein's monster. Garfield ultimately had to step away due to scheduling conflicts due to the 2023 Hollywood strikes, which left the film without its titular monster. This left the team with just 9 weeks to recast or risk the film falling through. Luckily, Australian actor Jacob Elordi was more than happy to audition for the role. Del Toro knew Elordi was the actor for the job after seeing his eyes. As Del Toro recalled, "The way I cast eyes. I always look at the eyes of the actor and say, can they give me that emotion? Jacob's eyes? I immediately knew he could play innocence." And luckily for Hill, Elordi's casting worked out because he was everything rolled into one, as he says. Transforming into Frankenstein was no easy task for Elordi. The actor had to spend almost 10 hours every day applying about 42 pieces of makeup and prosthetics before showing up to the set. But far from being grueling, the process had a strangely freeing effect on the actor. The makeup process was incredibly liberating. It was 10 hours to kind of relinquish myself and become this thing that's other, you know? Which was a great relief, says Elordi. Del Toro encouraged the young actor to view the process as sacred, almost like a ritual, likening it to how a priest gets dressed for church. Elordi's commitment didn't stop at makeup. The actor also took Japanese Butoh dance classes to physically ground the creature's movements, and studied the Book of Job to emotionally anchor his performance. He didn't want to watch performances of previous versions of Frankenstein, so as to keep it fresh and unique. Del Toro was quick to assure him that his performance would be his own by telling him that they're just movies, they're not going to hurt him. So he went home and binged all of them. As with any Del Toro film, the director made sure to fully create sets that best show his film's aesthetic and locations. In fact, Dr. Victor Frankenstein's laboratory resides within the ornate cistern of an 18th century water tower, which was a 360-degree set built and designed by production designer Tamara Deverell. In her designs, she combines science fiction with ancient mythology. Columns of green glass glow with a fiery red light, topped by a sculpted Medusa, while sleek silver filigree carries surges of electricity through the space. This isn't just a setting, it acts as a living presence within the film, as expressive and vital as any character. Deverell has worked with Del Toro on previous projects like Nightmare Alley and his Netflix series Cabinet of Curiosities, for which she won an Emmy. Ahead of the release of the film, Del Toro posted several photos on social media, revealing that the production built several incredible miniatures for the film. Large buildings, expansive courtyards, and massive machinery were all created at a very small scale that will look huge on the screen. The team made sure to pay attention to detail and scale to make sure the miniatures are period appropriate and match the style that production design Deverell envisioned. It's a perfect example of cinematic illusion, the kind that completely immerses the viewer and makes it easy to forget that what's on screen was carefully carefully constructed by hand. Watching the film, one would never guess that the elaborate sets are actually miniatures. The level of detail and artistry is exactly what audiences have come to associate with Del Toro, a director renowned for his lifelong dedication to building rich, meticulously crafted film worlds. After all, he is known to have a second home just to house all his film memorabilia, mythology, and arts. So seeing him embrace practical effects for Frankenstein feels perfectly in line with his creative spirit. Del Toro enlisted Danish cinematographer Dan Laustsen to serve as director of photography for his film. Laustsen used an Arri Alexa 65 with a Thalia 65 lens as his main camera kit. Laustsen and Del Toro decided to go with a larger format similar to how they shot Nightmare Alley. According to him, 90 to 95% of the movie was shot with a 24mm lens, which meant a lot of super wide angles in order to capture the whole set that Deverell had constructed. Most scenes then ended with big close-ups on the actors, and they can do that thanks to the lens. Laustsen and his team put a diffusion filter inside the camera to burn out the light and create unique effects with the frame. In a unique collaboration that merges nearly 200 years of jewelry craftsmanship with modern cinema, Tiffany Co. has joined forces with Netflix to feature its iconic pieces in Frankenstein. Set in the 1850s, an era that aligns with the early history of the jewelry house, the film offers a rare opportunity to showcase authentic period jewelry created during the time in which the story unfolds. The partnership brings an added layer of historical accuracy, with 27 hand-picked pieces from Tiffany's archives integrated into the film. Costume designer Kate Hawley, celebrated for her ability to reflect character psychology through wardrobe, worked closely with the brand to ensure each jewel was chosen with intention. Her designs, inspired by organic textures and forms, blend seamlessly with Tiffany's legacy pieces, transforming them into meaningful symbols that reflect the emotional and narrative depth of each character. That vision was fully realized in a stunning collection that captivates as much with its variety as with its elegance. The visual language of Frankenstein is shaped by a rich blend of 10 historic jewels, 6 archival silver pieces, 6 modern designs, and 5 creations made specifically for the film. Nearly all of the pieces are worn by Mia Goth, a role that demanded an opulent yet emotionally resonant visual identity. Principal photography on the film began on February 12, 2024 in Toronto, with several sound stages utilized to construct some of the big sets, like Frankenstein's laboratory, but filming also happened on location. Production moved to the United Kingdom in September 2024. The crew closed down a stately home in Lincolnshire for filming, specifically Burleigh House near Stamford. The film was also shot in Edinburgh, taking over the Royal Mile and Parliament Square, and going back in time with the production design and set dressing. The area around St. Giles's Cathedral was transformed with Victorian-looking set pieces appearing in West Parliament Square and a gallows appearing in Macar's Close. Thanks for joining us behind the scenes. We hope you enjoyed getting a closer look at how Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein came to be. From his attempt at bringing his own interpretation of Mary Shelley's book to life, to the period piece elements. If you like this kind of content, let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss what's coming next for Collider Behind the Scenes.